Well, today is one of our most favorite episodes that we get to do on the Ask April Porter Show because we're going to share with you our latest grant recipients. Today, we're joined by Jennifer Pope, who co owns Louise Bistro in Wellen Park, Venice, Florida, with her husband, Corey. And they took a leap of faith, leaving behind longtime careers to pursue their dream of business ownership and to build something meaningful for their family and their community. Now, Louise was named after Jennifer's father, a firefighter who loved bringing people together through food. Louis Bistro was built on family recipes, Southern hospitality, and a commitment to making every guest feel at home. And we are excited to hear from you the story of Louis. So, welcome, Jennifer and Corey.
Hi.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on the show. Now, I would love to start off. We're going to talk about your whole journey because our audience is made up of small business owners just like you. Right? And most of us who are small business owners, we didn't, come out of the womb as business owners, so to speak. We didn't usually come out of college as business owners, especially, past generations. Maybe this generation is doing more of that, but it's a journey. It's a journey to find our entrepreneurship spirit. So I'd love to learn from you all. How did this start? Where did the transition come where you decided, you know what? Maybe we should own a business instead of have a career. And then how did that evolve to where you are now with Louis?
Well, we knew we wanted to move down this way, meaning we lived in West Virginia at the time, we're originally from Kentucky, and we had an opportunity, a nice window with how our kids were placed in school versus, our time in life. And we just took it. So we found a turnkey cafe down in Florida, Venice, Florida, bought it and came down and pretty much just put our seatbelts on, put our hands up in the air and said, let's go. So, and what a wild ride it's been. So if we could write a book on everything not to do, that would be our book. So,
Well, that's how you know you're successful. I mean, as small business owners, we don't get to where we are with, an easy ride. It's failures that actually teach us the most about
yes,
how to scale and how to do things.
yeah.
So, how long has that been then?
It has been 8 years, 8 years since we've been here. 2018 is when we moved.
2018, and then that was your first restaurant
Yes.
business.
Yes.
Now, did you all have experience in the restaurant industry?
I had some. Corey had more. He had 30 years in a local restaurant and manager skills. And so, yeah, he is the HR, the business side as far as how things need to be run on the out front. And I pretty much learned the back end as I could. So,
I worked for Bob Evans Restaurant for 30 years. So times that it is with that company, it was time to look for something else. And so, we didn't want to go and start working. I didn't want to go and start working for another chain. So simply, we looked for something. We had family down here already. So we looked for something in Sarasota/Venice area, and we saw a small cafe for sale on a corner on the island of Venice. So we flew down, checked it out,
sure.
got with the owner, and made it happen. It was ugly at first, no doubt about it. So,
But we decided to put our time and effort and our money in ourselves and our family. So
yeah,
that was our choice.
yep,
Yes. Well, it's a beautiful thing. That's what we believe in around here, right? Is invest in yourself first, and that's going to always pay off. Investing in ourselves always gives us a return on that investment. So, one thing, Corey, you mentioned is you didn't want to work for another chain. Was Bob Evans a franchise or was it corporate owned?
corporate owned.
I was
Yes.
just curious about that because one of the things that we talk to here are a lot of franchisees. And, the public often thinks a franchise means it's a chain or it's corporate owned and it's disconnected from the small community. But franchisees are actually people a lot like you all, but instead of buying a business from an independent owner, they buy the right to open their own branch of a larger business. And so I was curious, I wasn't sure if Bob Evans followed which model it followed. So you'd worked in restaurants for 30 years, Corey, but now we're going from working in a restaurant to owning the restaurant. Was
Yep.
that a little bit more change than you expected?
Well, I think the biggest change was, number one, at the time we had been married for 20 some years and I'd never worked with my wife that kind and I'd been in leadership. Okay. So started out as a busboy, then went into leadership. Well, I quickly found out that I can't tell my wife what to do. Okay.
You just found that out just when you
Oh,
opened the
no,
restaurant?
I just tell you, I was used to calling the shots and it didn't work. He looks right. Whoa. So, yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge is learning how to work together
Mhm.
in a kitchen at the beginning, calling plates and different things different because her background was not exactly the same as mine, but we were there for the same common goal.
Yeah.
So I could give you all kinds of examples, but we don't have that kind of time.
I had more of the recipe side of it and how to make things and that family end of it, and he had more of the structural
I was more
end of it.
corporate driven
Yeah.
and with all the rules and I walked right into the cafe exactly like that. So that was the biggest transition because I'd never worked for somebody else. That one job for 30 years. Started age
Okay.
16 and left at age 46. So yeah, and plus the fact we were understaffed and we had to make it work. We already made the purchase and eventually
Yep.
we made it work. It was just ugly to begin with.
Well, it sounds like y'all really bought this too, maybe what, a year, less than a year before the whole COVID fiasco?
Yes.
Year and a half. But that was
Yeah.
just our first obstacle. There was red tide and beautification. We've had nothing but obstacles since
Every year.
every
Yes.
year,
Every year we've had an obstacle to
but we
come
stayed
through.
open through COVID because
Yeah.
the governor allowed us to do that. So that made us busier actually because we were one of the only local places that were open for about a week. So you had other folks coming from out of town that were coming to try the place. The sign said open.
Takeout. It's
So
takeout, but
now
and
those are regular customers that otherwise wouldn't have came.
right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I don't talk about this much on the show, but when my mom was pregnant with me, my parents invested in a restaurant, moved to Iowa. My dad was much like you, Corey, with restaurant experience. My mom had zero restaurant experience, and he was in the back. They owned a 24-hour diner, which I would not recommend. But my mom worked the front. She was a hostess and a waitress while my dad was in the back and managing and cooking and doing all the backside. So, I can appreciate from their stories the husband and wife dynamic of trying to make, and business ownership is stressful already, and then we bring our relationships in. And what I find, and tell me if you find this to be true, especially in the early years of business ownership, where it can really be stressful for a couple is that suddenly everything becomes about the business. There's not a single conversation that you have that doesn't involve or go back to the business or how are we going to deal with this? And so then it's almost like if you're not really aware of it, and I don't think we are at first, I think we become aware of it, but you have to become very intentional about, okay, we're not talking about business. We're going to
Yes.
go get a hobby or something we can do that we can enjoy that has nothing to do with the business.
And it made it even worse too because our daughters worked for us as well. So we had two of our children move down with us. So they ran the front, we ran the back. And, we kept it professional and everything. But baby, let me tell you, when 2 o'clock came and that door went locked, the girls went at it. Why did you do this? Why did you say this? So yeah, and we ended up taking everything home. Everybody would go home, shut their doors, take their naps because we get up super early in the morning, and everybody'd be fine at the end of the day. But yes, the conversation always, and we would definitely have to set certain things, boundaries, and say, okay, no, no cafe talk.
Yeah, and there were times that my daughter would say, our youngest daughter okay, guys, I don't want to talk about work anymore. And we just kind of looked at each other. Okay, what do you want to talk about? Because, you know, we didn't have something else to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, let's go do
So
something
we
on
would go
TV.
do
Like,
something. Yeah.
we would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to
Well,
the
I mean,
whatever.
probably do you agree that, like, probably in the long run, it brought you all closer together?
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%.
Before we came down, he really didn't know our daughters. I mean, I say that because he was at work all the
That
time.
sounds terrible,
It
but
does. And he was working all the time. And I was with him more than anything, taking him running, working, coming home and doing all that. But he actually, we call it a blessing because it actually got to let him physically and mentally and emotionally know his daughters so well. And I'm very grateful for that. So they have a wonderful relationship with their dad now, that they had a good one anyway, but now it's just, it's deeper,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because I would just get him up and get him ready for school while she's gone to work, and then take him to school or take him to the babysitter, drop him off. I'd be gone for 12, 15 hours a day. I got home, they're in bed, and it was a repeat just about every single day. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think so many people choose business ownership because of things like that, right? We feel like here we are putting all this time in on somebody else's business as an employee, and we're missing out on our own lives. And if we could just own our own business, then we could reclaim some control over what what our life really means, the relationships that we have. Right? I think that's the biggest reason people choose to become a business owner. Of course, I think we're also naive and we believe that we will have more flexible schedule, and we learn very quickly as new business owners that that is not the case.
And your struggles become different. They get
Mhm.
more real, but you survive it,
Right,
yeah.
right. So we met y'all because you actually applied for the Secret Sauce Small Business Grant.
Yes.
What was it that had where were you at in your business at the time? I know that you actually expanded to a second location. Well, before we get to that, what was the name of the business that you bought? What is that what's the name of that cafe?
That is Venice Island Coffee Cafe. Yeah.
Okay. And then somewhere along the line you decided to buy it off more and open up Louie's.
Yes. That was our retirement spot. That was gonna be our retirement money. And I tell everybody, instead of having double money, we're double poor now. Yes. So it was coming up on our 5th year on our first location. And so we started looking more of a tax strategy to kind of help offset things. I know that does sound crazy, by another restaurant, started other restaurants for that, but that's kind of where we were headed. But it's a new subdivision and we had the opportunity. We were approached in an area, Wellen Park is a new build up area they're doing here in Venice. And I just felt like God was leading us that way, and we really just we prayed about it, and it just felt right.
And it was ugly at
And
first.
it was really ugly at first because not everything was built up around here, so not a lot of things were open. So we truly it was a leap of faith. A lot of people told us we were crazy, business wise. Said, it's going to be hard for you to make it, and it was hard. But we're here. We've been 4 years now, and it's doing nothing but getting better and better each year. And so it was the right choice.
Good. Good, good, good. So, fast forward to earlier this year, you all decided to apply for the Secret Sauce Small Business Grant. What was going on that had you looking for grants? How did you even find out about it?
Well, as smart business owners are, they, have AI, and I don't do anything without my AI. My AI is Lucy. That's what I call her. She's my best friend. But we had some projects that had to come up, and we physically had to have these done in order to keep our business open. And it was either get another loan or try to find money somewhere else. Yes, yes, still build up and bring in more business. Yes. But so I I have recently been taking like different classes and courses, such as secret sauce. And one of the classes was on grants. And I never thought that we would qualify for a grant because I always thought that was a nonprofit. And so I shot in the dark, looked a bunch up, and just applied for everything because we were desperate. I was like, we are getting this done. We are not going to have to shut our unit down, and we're going to make this work. So, yeah, that's what I did. And you all called, and I literally was brought to tears whenever you all told me because it was perfect timing. And so, yeah, we were very grateful.
Well, I mean, you're the one who put in the work. I mean, and that's one of the important things for all small business owners listening to know is, inside Secret Sauce, we do a lot of things for small business owners. We do business education, we do executive coaching, we have an AI company that we help with AI infrastructure, and we have the small business grants. And it's our mission to never leave a small business owner behind. But all we can do is provide those things. And it's up to the small business owners like you, Jennifer, and you, Corey. You have to, take the ball and run it into the end zone. You have to put in the work. And you've put in that work in your both of your businesses, your cafes. And then you also put in the work into the application. And it was the way that you presented yourself and shared your story with us that got the attention of the committee that resulted in it, right? So we're happy. We're happy that it landed right where it was meant to be. And that's how we feel about each and every grant we give out is that, we hope that it was, an answered prayer for someone and that it's put to the use that, God means for it to be.
Yes, it was definitely very helpful. So it took stress off of us, and that's the important part.
As it is. So, so what are your next plans? Like what are you looking at next for business wise?
Well, we are actually starting to veer more into a catering section. So our places are kind of small. So, there's only so much business you can bring in. We started working on to go orders. Now we are heading more towards the catering end. There's a lot of areas that, you've got your normal chain places that do things, but as far as having that personal touch for a breakfast or a lunch, or I've even done, dinner things, to have that extra touch and to actually talk to you and say, what are you getting ready to do? What is your ideal planning for this party? And let me create it for you. So that's the exciting part of that. Plus it's an extra part of the business that we look at as just extra income coming in. It's nothing that we're surviving on. It's to help provide more on that catering end. So that's kind of the direction we're going.
Excellent. Excellent. So, for all the small business owners that are listening today, if you could boil it down, I'll give each of you the opportunity to one piece of advice. What's the one piece of advice that you would have for anyone who's feeling maybe overwhelmed in their business or maybe kind of stuck in the same pattern where they haven't quite broken through to that next phase of growth? What would you have to say to them?
I personally would say, one, it will pass. Two, constant education. Constant education, you learn something every time, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a group that you join, anything like that. Anything you can learn, it will give you creative ideas, knowledge to change, maybe you tweak a little something that you're doing that's not working right. And you would be really surprised on where it can take you. I started doing that about a year and a half ago to really dive in and learn more. I really didn't know that there was groups out there. And wow, I'm doing so much more now than I ever thought I would be. Not just in the business, but I'm working more on my business. It's giving me more knowledge to make the right turns. It's just that is where it's at in your secret groups, like the secret sauce group that you all have. The information that you all give and the help that you all give, business owners need that. It to me, that's a must.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
pretty much said it all.
And getting out in the community more, that's helped a lot too. Yeah.
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 Amazing. Well, we think you guys are doing a fantastic job. You've clearly built quite a following for yourselves right there in your local community, making a difference every single day. And we are just thrilled to be able to support you. Thanks so much for joining us on the show this week.
Yes,
Thank you for
absolutely.
having us.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ask April Porter podcast. If you found value in today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow franchisees and small business owners. To access the resources I mentioned during this episode, check out our show notes.